Welcome back to Yellowstone Grand Prix, where tonight we have another exciting tournament for you. Our drivers will be piloting a small piece of history tonight, the NSU Prinz 1300 TTS. Originally produced in 1956, the NSU Prinz 1300 TTS has been retuned to comply with 1960s touring car regulations. In the late 1960s, NSU was sold off to Volkswagen Auto Group and later became Audi. This was obtained by its partnership with Auto Union. As the name suggests, the Prinz 1300 had a 1300cc inline-4 naturally aspirated engine, which produces 120 horsepower, which is still impressive to this day for an engine of its size. The Prinz was short wheelbase with a rear-engine rear-wheel drive layout, making it extremely prone to lift-off oversteer, which is something all of our drivers have struggled with tonight and only a few have overcome. Let's take a look at our finalists and their standings in qualifying. Our pole sitter for tonight is going to be Kelton. He's in the number 5 car, and so far he's been the only driver to touch the 39-second lap times. Not at all far behind, we have Cooper in the number 3 car. After him, we have some returning faces from last tournament. First of all, we have Josh in the number 6 car, trailing by about 4/10. And behind him, by just 31 thousandths of a second, we have Waleed in the number 1 car. He certainly is not a fan of this car, but he's been doing fairly well so far. In 5th place, we have another returning face, and once again, someone struggling with this car. We have Jackson in the number 4 car. And then to round it off, we have someone brand new. It's Mitch in the number 2 car. He's been doing fairly well considering this is his first ever tournament. There's now only a few seconds left on the clock before we start the race, so let's take a look at the track. We're at the Gelleråsen Arena here today, the oldest racetrack in Sweden. There's a 13-minute timer on this race. Your 2 main overtaking spots are Turn 1 and Turn 3, and the danger zone is the penultimate corner, that triple apex back there. We'll see how our finalists go about coping with this track and this car. The race is about to go underway here in a few seconds. Coming into and out of the final corner now, and as our leader crosses the start line, the race will begin. Let's hope for an exciting turn 1 with some clean overtakes. This track may be narrow, but it is not impossible to get off a clean move. And they're off. Let's see if there's any kind of dives here into turn 1. Looks like Waleed is going a little bit deep there, and Josh gets around him. Back around him, I should say, and Jackson gets in front of Waleed as well. He's dropped a position. Jackson gets around Waleed cleanly, while Waleed took a dive for Josh. Our top 4 are extremely close. There's a group of 2 at the back that's falling behind a little bit, but Cooper is going to take a quick peek around the outside there, but he's not going to have the momentum to be making any moves. It's a rough start for Waleed, but other than that, no positions have really changed. We haven't seen too much action yet, other than this extremely close racing for 2nd place. Look at Josh getting on the brakes late there, almost rear-ending Cooper, but does not. He gets into the inside really far there, but he's not going to be able to get on the power soon enough. If the deltas don't lie, he's even lost a little bit of time to Jackson behind. Speaking of the devil, we got Jackson right next to Josh, and he goes for a dive, but that is not a very safe dive. So much for clean racing there. That was a proper battering, but it looks like Josh has held on to 3rd. Jackson really wants out of 4th place. He wants to fight with Kelton and Cooper right now, especially since his tires are going to be falling off here soon. Let's take another look at that turn 1. Waleed goes for 3rd, but overshoots massively. So much so that Jackson gets around him. Let's take a closer look at that attempt for 3rd place. Jackson is right next to Josh, but that's not where you want to be diving. There's no way that Josh could have been aware that Jackson was doing that, so I'd say it's Jackson's fault there. Maybe if he went further to the right side so that Josh could see him, he might have been able to pull it off, but he didn't. 1st and 2nd are now making their own little groups as Josh slows Jackson down. The gap between 1st and 2nd has remained pretty close to the same, but Kelton does appear to be pulling away just a little bit. Except for here, Cooper is going to be carrying a lot more speed going into that triple apex corner. Coming out, it looks like they're about the same though. Bravely, Mitch makes a move on Waleed into the danger zone, that triple apex corner. Going on board with Cooper, we can see just how much that lead expanded. He has a very deep entry into turn 1, trying to get a better apex than Kelton, but it doesn't seem like it pays off. Jackson's still knocking on the door, third place going into turn 2. He's on the inside now. I think he's going to go for another dive. And he doesn't. There's still a little bit of contact, but he has secured third, or has he? Because Josh is going in, and there's a little bit of a tap there. Ooh, that was very close, but it was also very well handled. We'll take another quick look at that. Jackson late on the brakes and still just kind of clipping Josh's car a little bit, but he does get third. He's thrown clean racing out the window for this one. It is elbows out tonight. We've been taking a closer look at our two leaders' lines, and it seems like Cooper has a much faster entry speed, but Kilton has a much faster exit speed. In these underpowered cars, it is all about momentum, so we can see why Kelton is leading currently. Off camera, Mitch and Waleed keep switching positions. Waleed is now in front of Mitch. The cars are spreading out now, and it looks like it's safe to say that Kelton has a good chance of winning as long as he stays consistent and makes very few mistakes. I saw a glimpse in the background there of Josh trying around the outside of Jackson, but that exit was not very good. I think what happened there was he just went a little bit too hot. Maybe he didn't actually do that on purpose. We also see Waleed catching up a little bit in the background there. Cooper is taking another look around the outside, and there is a little bit of contact. Kelton is going to force him out as far as he can, but it's not off into the gravel trap quite yet. A brave attack by Cooper and a wise defense by Kelton. We've seen a lot of action that triple apex corner despite what we expected. The battle for first is much closer now. Cooper is going to try again at that deep line. He's going to get the wider apex. Maybe he'll get onto the throttle faster, but it just doesn't look like that exit pays off at all. It seems that the gap stays the same. The battle for third has now become a battle for fourth as Jackson pulls away into his own little pack. Waleed is caught up to Josh, so I'm assuming that he might have a little bit more pace there. We'll have to see how that battle goes. Let's keep looking at the fight for the lead though, because this is also very close and very exciting because, it's the fight for the lead. Their pace is very similar, these two, so I'm not entirely sure what kind of move we're going to see, if anything, for Swap in the lead. At this stage in the race, the tires are heating up, so depending on whether or not you're having that conservative driving style, that might be your ticket to the win. I don't think that these two have had massive issues with that so far. Kelton seems to be improving his lap times, if anything. The gap to first is again getting bigger. We haven't seen Mitch in a while. I wonder if he's gone off anywhere. Josh and Waleed look to be reeling in Jackson a little bit. That might turn into a battle for third again. Cooper has a great entry into that triple apex corner. He can cut down that delta to first very fast. I wonder what it is about his exit that seems to just neutralize it. It seems to be a standstill for gaining and losing ground at the moment for just about everyone. The formula for a good race seems to be slow cars at a short track. It might be a little bit quiet right now, but I reckon it'll get a little bit more exciting here in a few moments. You gotta remember that anything can happen in racing. Any driver can get phased out, they can forget where they are, they can lose track of what the car drives like. All of our finalists seem to be driving fairly consistently so far, especially since the gaps are widening. They're having to think about people around them a lot less. They're starting to get into their own races. We're going 2 cars wide into the danger zone again, and there's that's exactly why it's called the danger zone. Oh dear. That's pretty bad for Waleed. It looks like he's stuck in the gravel. No, he's rolling again. We'll take another look at that, though. Waleed was behind Josh, so he's going for an overtake around the outside here, which is brave, but Josh doesn't see it coming, and he's just trying to make that corner himself, so he gets sent off into the gravel zone. And since these cars are rear-engine, rear-wheel drive, there's not a lot of weight in the front, so when you go into the gravel, you can't really steer out of it. You have to go very slowly. That's exactly why Waleed just kind of had to stop there for a moment. It's not been a lucky race for him. He's now at the very back. Mitch is now up in the 5th. Josh holds 4th. There's not an awful lot that you can do about that, honestly. Especially in these cars with everyone having such similar pace. You can't really make up that time that you might lose by going into the gravel trap. But when you look at Wooly's trajectory, he definitely wasn't heading into that gravel track before that contact. I'm not exactly sure if that's anyone's fault, but it's definitely unfortunate for Wooly. I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen any sort of position changes for the lead. Cooper's usually a pretty aggressive overtaker. He's very optimistic about dives, so it seems like he's channeled all the energy into Jackson. The two have stayed very close together so far. There hasn't been a massive change in delta. Sure, Kelton has pulled away a little bit, but Cooper makes up so much time in late Sector 2, early Sector 3. You would expect that his deeper lines will just rocket him out of the corners, but it doesn't seem to be. Seems like that's where Kelton is stronger, despite him taking shallower lines. We could take a little bit of a look at their cornering speed there for a second, and as I expected, Cooper is a lot faster on the entry, but somehow Kelton has another 10 kilometers an hour on the exit. There's some secret little driving style this car requires that nobody seems to have found so far. Everyone's lines seem to be very similar too. I wonder how there's so much difference in lap times. It's just a little over 5 minutes to go until the final lap, and it doesn't really look like there's going to be too many more position changes, especially for the lead. If everyone stays consistent, I'm guessing this is how we're going to finish. Kelton first, Cooper second, Jackson third, Josh fourth, Mitch fifth, will lead sixth. And that gap to first is definitely increasing. Kelton is safely pulling away now. It's still the closest battle on track, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Kelton coming up on top. That line for our two leaders just looks so similar. I don't know how there can be such a big speed difference. Kelton seems to be a lot more confident on his throttle. I think he's a little bit less scared of the understeer that comes from that. So a little bit more information about what's going on tonight. This is Yellowstone Grand Prix. It's a race shop located in Idaho Falls. Every other Thursday they do a tournament night where anyone can come in and race in these tournaments. The winner of the final gets whatever half of the pot is for entry fee. Last time out there were 14 or 15 people, and the winner took home $170. This time only 6 people were there, so the prize this time is $75 to the winner. But who knows, maybe you can be the next big winner. You can get more information at Yellowstone Grand Prix's Facebook page or their website. You can also head over to their YouTube and watch streams of the full tournament, not just the finals. Kelton, who's leading right now, and Cooper, who's in second, have only been coming in for around a month or two, and this might be shaping up to be Kelton's first win. That gap to first is definitely increasing. It looks like Kelton might have this in the bag, but it looks like Cooper has secured second place as well. Jackson is seeming to not really be gaining at all. The battle for fourth between Josh and Mitch looks pretty close though, and there's a yellow flag wherever lead is. Oh, he's gone wide again. Just not doing a very good job of having some luck at all. Car has been really difficult for him. It's a hard car to learn. It's very interesting. It's very lightweight. You'd expect it to be able to turn in and have a lot of grip, but it's either oversteery or understeery. It's never just what you would expect. It's like a little bit of a twitch of oversteer there for Mitch even, so there you go. It's just a twitchy little thing and super unpredictable. This gap seems to be closing though. We haven't had a lot of eyes on Mitch so far, but he might be making some moves for fourth if he can get a little bit more pace than Josh. From that angle, that gap does look torrential, so there might be a little bit of time. He's only got about 2.5 minutes to see if he can make that move. The bright orange Jaeger machine is bouncing around quite a lot through that second sector. Jackson's definitely pushing to try and have a shot at getting in the second. That's very tight on the inside from Mitch. Mitch is sending it through all these corners trying to get closer to Josh. He's tucking it in very tight there. Look at that. That's almost all 4 wheels off the track just trying to catch up to Josh. I don't think anyone's found a very efficient line for that triple apex. I'm just not sure if it works in this car. It seems like you can either make it a double apex sometimes, or you could make it a triple apex other times. It's hard to get it consistent. It's hard to kind of experiment to see which one is faster. You don't have that much time to experiment with your brake bias and your lines and whether or not to use lift oversteer, so it is kind of hard to figure out what is good. Oh, Josh is deep in the what's happened there? Mitch makes his way through. He's up into fourth. Josh, I wonder what happened there. I would assume that Josh got a massive amount of oversteer. Whoa! Mitch hitting some cones on the exit there. But anyways, back to Josh. I think what happened there is he might have had some lift oversteer coming out of the corner so much they couldn't even catch it. I think he might have just spun. That's why it was so far to the inside. It looked like he had a normal line up until then. Oh, Josh might have some more pace though. He definitely has some more pace. Look at how close he is to Mitch even after that mistake. He might be making a move back into fourth soon. But there you go, right when it was turning into a snooze fest, something big happened. just like I said it would. Racing is unpredictable. When you have to rely on these machines, anything can happen. Take a look at the gap that Kelton has built though. You can barely even see Cooper in the background now. 30 seconds left on the clock. Either this or the next lap is going to be our final lap for our leader. These guys have been racing for nearly 4 hours straight, and you might find that weird to hear because you've only been racing for 13 minutes. That's why you should start coming to tournaments. There's been 4 hours of racing, but you're only seeing 13 minutes. There's a lot more exciting racing out there that you can even be a part of if you'd like. We're definitely coming up to our final lap here. Oh, there's some contact. Oh, Mitch has spun out Josh. It looks like he's slowing down though, so he might heed the position back to Josh. If not, Josh is not getting my position back because he has one more full lap, and that's it. Because the final lap is out. There's only a couple more corners between Kelton and taking home his first win. $75, a trophy, and some other prizes as well. Through the Triple Apex one more time. Here we go. Apex number 2. Let's see his line through here. Oh, he pretty much holds it to be a double apex there, but on to the final straight, blasting down. We're about to head on to that straight bit. That's the full track. We're on the mini track, and boom. Race win. The first of many, I'm sure. Kelton has only been doing this for 2 months, but man, he's been consistently in the finals, and finally he gets to take home a trophy. Cooper is going to come home in second with Jackson in third. Mitch, in his first ever tournament, is going to be coming home in fourth. Lead at the very last second takes fifth, while Josh, unfortunately, is at the back in sixth. Racing drivers need excuses for not winning, and guess what? You're looking at it. The NST Prinz is definitely going to be everyone's go-to as to why they weren't the winner. Kelton taking home both the win and the fastest lap tonight. That's all the racing that we'll have for you, and we'll see you, hopefully, in 2 weeks' time. If you thought this looked like a blast, get yourself in on it. Check out Yellowstone Grand Prix's website or Facebook page to get more information on when the next tournament is. We'll see you there.